Wonderful beach.
For Desmond Majakodomi, the chairman of the Lafiaji Park, the effort to save the Lekki coastline is somewhat personal. For many years, he organized beach parties and concerts in Lekki.
Absolutely fantastic.
He says the waterfront brings happy memories, and to see it in ruins is too much to bear.
Well, this started a good 7 years ago when I was commemorating a landmark birthday, because I'd been quite deeply involved with what's called the Lekki Beach. With a group of other people, we were doing promoting activities there like the Lekki Sunsplash and so on. And once seeing the erosion of that beach caused by shipwrecks, it was very, very heart-wrenching. And we thought, wow, we really must try to do something to sensitize government. So we did a rally 7 years ago called Save the Lekki Coast Rally. It sensitized government enough. The governor of the state came. Eventually, the president of the federation even came, and they gave all sorts of instructions that these shipwrecks should be removed and the coast should be protected. Unfortunately, the instruction of the then president was ignored, was flagrantly ignored. We don't know if the money was released. We don't know if that money ended up in one of the Osborne Towers or whatever. We just don't know. But his instructions were ignored, and there was no intervention from the federal government.
He's still disappointed that more is left undone. Increasing level of shoreline erosion and ocean surges in recent years has claimed the waterfront with massive flood.
These particular types of trees, called the coconut trees, have this incredible root zone. They have these fibrous roots, and their roots just intertwine with each other, just web against erosion, and they have been forming over the centuries a natural buffer of erosion, because when the sea hits the shoreline, the tendency would be to have a little bit of erosion. But the coconut trees are there, or were there, to prevent the erosion, until we as men started intervening with our rock groins and our perturbances and our shipwrecks and so on. And we totally upset the whole rhythm, the whole flow of the ocean. And the fibrous roots of the coconut trees could no longer withstand the kind of erosion that was forthcoming as a result of all this. And that's why they were ripped up and torn into the sea, and that's why we've lost kilometers of shoreline all the way down our coast. And this is why we're just appealing and crying out to government, please, please save the Lekki coastline.
The rate of population growth along the Lagos coast presents many challenges. One of these challenges is in ensuring the safety and security of a population that is continually threatened by natural hazards such as flooding, coastal erosion, and storm surge. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, in its third assessment report, concluded that climate change is most likely to have important impacts on settlements in coastal or riverine locations, especially where rapid urbanization is occurring alongside economies that are dependent on climate-sensitive resources. Storm surge is an environmental hazard that leads to the loss of habitat in estuarine ecosystems, the loss of beaches, and damage to properties and natural resources. Scientists also says the development of official and residential estates along the coast of the Atlantic Ocean in Lagos is a major problem that circumvents basic environmental principles which should be adopted in the planning of coastal towns and cities. The coastal shelf of Victoria Island is at present barely 2 meters above sea level. A remarkable percentage of over 15 million of residents in Lagos see Victoria Island and its satellite peninsula, Lekki, as the best part of the state to invest in and obtain superlative returns in real estate. Rising at a pace of 1 meter per 50 years, environmental scientists warn ocean surge may herald Armageddon for the city, but the general populace seems not to be aware of this very important fact. Inhabitants of the Lagos State coastal communities live in a low-lying coastal environment with fragile coastal ecosystems and a high reliance on tourism, agriculture, and industry for economic activities. all of which are vulnerable to the impact of changing climate. The Etiosa local government is situated along the extended coastline of Lagos. Most of its lush vegetation, a mixture of mangroves, swamp and humid rainforests, have been slashed, drained and transformed into a huge residential district. At the same time, Etiosa is home to a number of large, local and international businesses. Ocean surges as well as flooding during the rainy season are the major environmental challenges in both Etiosa and Lekki. Many communities in the area have been traumatized by an inundation of their homes and businesses and rapid erosion of the beach. Nigeria's entire 800-kilometer coastline is prone to ocean surge, and experts warn that settlements on the nation's coastal areas, especially Etiosa in Lagos, risk total submergence, except pragmatic steps are taken by stakeholders to avert the impending catastrophe.
The ocean, as we all know, is saline in nature. And then we have the inland waters, which is not as saline, as the salinity is not as high as that of the ocean. By the time you have the ocean waters coming inland, then the biodiversity there will be affected because they are not adapted to that kind of lifestyle. So they are that kind of environment which the inland waters coming in will happen. That's talking about biodiversity. What about the social aspect? What about the humans who will be displaced of their homes? You know, it's not just the environmental angle we're talking about. We're talking about the social angle. We see what's happening at the Alpha Beach. A lot of houses there are now in the ocean, and it's very obvious. This is not rocket science. Something that is very obvious. We are all seeing it. So are we going to fold our arms and wait until more lands is eaten away by the ocean, or something like that? So I think it's time for us to really take concrete steps to stop what is happening right now.
Experts have said the phenomenon of ocean surge is a global problem, but the solution lies in the capacity of the government, both federal and state, to take immediate and far-reaching actions to mitigate the impact.